What a beautiful turnout. I look out here and I see our community. I see volunteer leadership that helps us every day at Metropolitan Ministries. I see staff leadership who works so sacrificially to help those in our community. I see donors, corporate leaders, government leaders, so many of you that come together each and every day to make Tampa Bay a wonderful community to live in. And we thank you for being here. I want to acknowledge some of our dignitaries. We'll be hearing from the mayor shortly, and Sandy Merman here from the county. I know that there's some representatives from Head Start here with us today, and our Head Start kids will be stealing the show a little later today. We know that we have City Council Hill represented here today with Mike Suarez. Also, Yvonne Yali Kapin is here, I believe. And I may be missing somebody else. I think Congressman Kathy Castor's office was going to be represented. There's Chloe there. Good to see you again, Chloe. I know that the Children's Board is represented here, as well as our Children's Board representatives. Also from the school district, we have Mary Ellen Elia is here, and Dorothy Edgecombe as well, over there at the end. We thank all our community leaders. Did I miss anyone? Real loud, please. Thank you. Representative Betty Reed, right? Congressman Bill Larakis. Thank you all for the leadership that you provide to our community each and every day. And for all our leaders and community partners, let's give a round of applause. Thank you all for being here. It's my indeed honor to introduce a good friend and the CEO of Metropolitan Ministries, a gentleman, a reverend, a leader in our community who's turned a few shovels in this state of Florida. He's turned a few shovels on this property as well. And it may not be the last time he turns a shovel on this property, but we're so grateful to have his leadership, his vision to lead us here at Metropolitan Ministries. Please welcome to the stage Reverend Morris Hinsman.
This is a terrific day in which the Tampa Bay community comes together, as only Tampa can do, and only as Tampa and Hillsborough County can do, to accomplish some great things, not only on this site, but all across the Bay Area. And we're grateful that we are not out here alone doing this, and we didn't get here alone, and above all, Richard reminded us that we are here at the hand of the Lord. I searched a scripture this morning, and a scripture that came to mind was one that was spoken by Solomon, the 127th chapter of Psalms. And it's interesting, in the King James it starts out, unless the Lord builds the house, you know what the rest of it is? They build in vain. Well, I punched in the word unless on Google, and this was the top prompt on the top of the word unless. Well, I felt pretty good about that, not only because it was up there, it's the Lord's word, but I liked it because I didn't have to work to find it some other way. Never ask a pastor or priest where to find a scripture, in public at least. It's all right in private, but I want to thank Tim this morning. You know, Tim is our president and chief operating officer, and Tim is given the responsibility by charge from me and the board of directors to work with Andy May and the board and see that this project is brought to a successful close. Not only does he have that responsibility, but he has the responsibility of directing and leading the ministry here every day. And I think we should give it up for his leadership and for what he's doing in our community. Tim Marks. Over 25 years ago, I stood right over where the Family Care Center sits on an ant-infested lot in which Jimmy Gray was chairman of the board, Bob Thomas was the chairman of the building committee, and Mayor Martinez was our mayor. And we broke ground to build that facility, and when we completed that, I just really so short-sighted, I said, well, it's over. We're done, you know, go home. And but because of that act on the part of the board of directors in this community and all of its supporters, that facility in the past 25 years has been home to over 25,000 people. There was close to 6,000 families have lived in there, 14,000 plus children. And that is just an example of what appears to be a small act does a great, great service in our community. And I said to myself when we were preparing for that, we just need to do more. And that particular concept was carried forward, and about 5 years ago under Stan's leadership, we decided, Stan Harrell, we decided that we must do more and help more families. And so we set out to more than double our capacity here. And it was made real to me on Thursday when I was walking through outreach doing a tour. And I walked past 3 mothers and their small children, and I stopped to talk to them. And here, what I found out and discovered was these 3 mothers and their 5 children total did not have a place to sleep that night. Wow, that made today mean even that much more, because we just have to do as much as we can do within the resources and the capacity of the community. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and I trust all of you had time to reflect on both your mothers, if they're still with you, or your mothers that have since gone on to heaven. But we think about our mothers, and most of us think with great affection about our mothers. We certainly gathered and remembered Paula's mother and my mother, and we had a time of reminiscing about them. Well, we're thinking about the mothers that are coming to us every day. And this act today is about putting a place where children and moms and dads can find a place to lay their head until the crisis passes. MiraclePlace is about, in the words of Todd Lewicki, MiraclePlace is about taking the adversity that are facing families and turning it into an opportunity or to self-sufficiency. That's our commitment. That's the direction we're going. Twice as many families we'll have capacity to serve twice as many families here, and our vision probably will be a few years out. We have to do more. But this is what we have to do now, and this is what we're engaged in now. And with the dedicated oversight and the compassion and the commitment and sacrificial giving of our board of directors, the community, the city, the county, the faith community, the corporate community, God is going to allow us to bless those who are at our door every day, to be able to say to them, you're home, welcome, come on in. And with that, I want to introduce the gentleman who leads our board of directors, serves as our current board chair, and been on our board for a number of years, and longtime supporter, Mr. Bruce Tigard. Bruce?
Good morning. It's a great day, isn't it? It's a great day for Metropolitan Ministries. It's a great day for the city of Tampa. But most of all, this is a great day for the thousands of families whose lives will be given a fresh start and new hope right here in this facility. You heard Morris speak some about the need, of how many struggling families there are out there, of how we have to turn away deserving families who come to us each and every day needing some help. Trust me, those of us on the board, we hear that quite often from Morris. And, which is why we decided that we just had to do something about it. It all officially started in January of 2011 when the board of directors unanimously voted to build MiraclePlace. That was a great day, too. That decision took a lot of courage. We've heard from more than a couple of people that this is not the best of times for a capital campaign, but we were convicted that we had to move forward and make this happen. And so the board voted unanimously on that day to build MiraclePlace. And not only did they all raise their hands to say yes, but they've also opened their checkbooks as well. And I'm very pleased to announce that not only did we have a 100% affirmative vote that day, we also have 100% financial participation from our board of directors to the tune of over $3 million. And that's what... As our friends and partners at the Lighting would say, we are all in. Now, we wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for the leadership of our past chairman, Stan Harrell. I'd like to recognize Stan. You got to stand up, Stan. I get to stand up here and make the speeches. Stan's the one that did all the work. But anyway, we want to say thank you for all that you've done to bring us to this very important day in our history. We're not done. This is just the beginning. There's a lot of heavy lifting to be done from here in, miles to go before we sleep. We're fortunate to have Dr. Martin Silberger on our board. Dr. Silberger's he's a very busy man. Dr. Silberger is the chairman of the board of directors of the David A. Straz Center for the Performing Arts. He is also our chairman of the Metropolitan Ministries Capital Campaign for MiraclePlace. And I want to say thank you to Dr. Silberger and ask him to share a little bit with us about where we stand on the capital campaign.
It's been a few months, and I got this call. My assistant called me and said that Morris and Stan were on the phone for me. I knew that was not a good prognostic sign. You know, we use those crazy terms in medicine. But I agreed to chair this capital campaign because this is the single most important project in this city at this time. It is not the largest, it's not the most expensive, it's not the most elaborate project, but this project is the most important because it will allow our families in need to get stability. Here they get faith, they get love, they get care, and most importantly, I think, they get education. The children get education. The adults get education that allow them to continue on, become independent and self-supporting, and that's the goal of this Ministries. Just to give you a brief report on where we are, where we stand, and get your phone numbers. We have raised over $7 million to date. We have additional guarantees from our supporters of another $6 million, and so that puts us in the business of building. Our first project, phase one, is a $13 million project, which is doubling our capacity. Our total goal is a $23 million goal, and we'll reach it. We'll just keep going till we reach it, as the Ministries always does. So I'd like to thank all of the staff, the volunteers, and the donors for allowing Metropolitan Ministries to be the model of what we can do to help those in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Silberger, for your awesome words, and thank you, Morris, as well. I'd like to introduce to you Andy May, who sits on our board, who's the chair of the Campus Master Plan, the chair of MiraclePlace. Let's please welcome Andy May.
Good morning, and thank you for all coming today. This is an exciting day. A lot's already been said. I think everyone on the board and everyone here, this means a tremendous amount, a real milestone. And I have the easiest job on the board because of the people that support me in this leadership position. And with the community, with the board, with my subcommittee, with the staff, there's a lot of thought and a lot of care that's going into this, and I rest assured I leave this meeting today and spread the word, because we need your help. Thank you for your help, and we much appreciate it, but we have a long way to go. We've made a lot of inroads, but it really is going to take the whole community to make this thing to its completion, or bring us to its completion. A few people I'd like to recognize today. Let me start off by saying we are a neighbor here, and I'd like to say hello to President Ray Campbell for the Heights Neighborhood Association. Are you here, Ray? They have been a tremendous participant in this, and we appreciate their input very much, and we'll continue to do so. So I think, as you can imagine, as we expand how we're going to fit into this wonderful community, and I think it's been accepted that we are, and we're here to show support, care, and continue to be a good neighbor. As I mentioned, the staff here has been tremendous. I want to point out, obviously, Tim Mars, part of the early vision, but our project manager, Brian Edgman, who is just tremendous. We're just so fortunate to have him. And then supporting the group, this is really easy because it was kind of interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard of a small construction company called Skanska and another one called Beck. That was an interesting interview process, but I will tell you, two professional organizations that came together here. Beck is our general contractor, and I don't think Mark House is here, but David is, and thank you very much. You all have been tremendous partners and continue to do so, and these two groups have come together to give us the best support. On my committee, I happen to have Mr. John Kamak, who is the executive in charge of Skanska, and also another well-known person, John McKibben. So we're not letting much get by anyone here when it comes to executing this project. So rest assured, every dollar invested is getting a good look. Let me also thank Fleischman Garcia, our architect, Saul, and Stan. Thank you very much. Wilson Miller, Stan Tech, our civil engineer. I don't know if Dave's here. Dave Kemper. JVS, Mr. John Simon, I don't know if you're here, but thank you very much for your generosity and all your support you give us. Hancock Bank, Eric Obeck, you guys have been tremendous partners in helping us put the money together here on this. And I've mentioned the board, a couple of people, Beth Latham, Robert Schimberg, Preston Ferrier, John Kamak. I mentioned John McKibben earlier, and of course our money man, Tom Cornett. Tom takes good care of us in that regard. I just wanted to finish up and thank all of you very much. Keep an eye on the site. We will be back, and we'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. We have great leadership here at Metropolitan Ministries, and we have great leadership in the community. And leadership rises when it becomes a difficult task. When you have a difficult task in front of you, that's when leadership shines. And at the county, there are challenges that Sandy Merman is leading in. And we so appreciate your focus and care to care for the homeless, and your focus in that area. And Sandy Merman has a special announcement she would like to make.
Thank you. Morris, do you remember when I came here and met with you back in the late 80s? He wanted me to put a little volunteer program together for Metropolitan Ministries, and who knew it would be this vision would take place today. It really is a miracle. You've done an outstanding job, and I just want you to know that the Hillsborough County and the Board of County Commissioners completely supports what you're doing. We are here to help you in any way we can. We want to present this commendation to you today to just so you'd have something to put in the building when it's finished, but also to recognize you for your efforts, because a lot of times at local government there's expectations and of what government can do. Government can't do as much right now as we've been in the past, but we can certainly. This is a priority for us. Serving homeless is a complete priority, and it's a miracle that we're all here today. And I'll just read this real quick. It says the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners is proud to recognize Metropolitan Ministries in celebrating their 40th year serving the needs of poor and homeless families in Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, and Polk counties, and as they expand and build MiraclePlace to better serve the poor and homeless families living in our community. Since 1972, more than 25 million hot meals have been prepared, more than 374,000 safe haven shelter nights have been provided, and more than 542,000 families have been served through outreach and prevention services. The Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners is proud that the Metropolitan Ministries Board voted to expand their campus by building MiraclePlace. With the expansion of MiraclePlace, Metropolitan Ministries is expected to double its current capacity in all programs and services. It is expected that more than 204 families and 450 children annually will be housed in the 99 family units. The daycare will be expanded to serve more than 170 children. The education center will be expanded to serve more than 100 adults. And the expanded food, kitchen, and dining areas, community center, and chapel will enable Metropolitan Ministries to help individuals and families find compassion, hope, and answers to their specific situations. We value your commitment to those in need in our community and know your good work has helped make Hillsborough County a better place to live, work, and play. Here you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I hired Sandy many years ago, came to work for me, and I couldn't keep her busy enough, so she ran off and ran to Tallahassee and a few other places, but she's been working for me ever since I hired her that first day in Tallahassee and now at the county. Thank you.
Okay, well, we've talked about leadership. We've talked about finances. We've talked about buildings. We've talked about faith. We've talked about mothers. And that's what we're going to focus in on right now, mothers. We have a great mother here that's been living at Metropolitan Ministries. She came to us a mother of 3. She's a mother of 4. She had her baby while she was staying here at Metropolitan Ministries. She has a wonderful story of hope, a radiant smile. You're going to help. You can't help but smile back at her. Please welcome to the stage Ms. Chandra Rowley.
Good morning. First off, I would like to just ask, has anyone ever been at a point in their life where they were completely lost and had absolutely no idea what they were going to do? Well, I have. And for me, it was Sunday, 4th of July, 2011. I was sitting on a bus stop with my 3 children, 1 month pregnant, and a wagon full of all of our belongings. I had absolutely nowhere to go. I had no job and no money. My children kept asking where we were going to live, and I just had no answer for them. I began to call everyone in my phone, and finally a friend who was just a few blocks away allowed us to come over. I spent the next week with my 3 children sleeping on her small sectional sofa. She only had a 1-bedroom apartment, so we had to go. On that very next Saturday, another friend of mine brought me here to Metropolitan Ministries, and it was then I applied for the Uplift You program. I met with a counselor. She explained to me how the program would work, how I would be taking classes, and also that it was about a 3-month waiting list before a room would become available. I became discouraged because I didn't know where me and my kids were going to spend the next 3 months. So my friend offered her home to me, but before we went, I sent my oldest, Jemiah, to a family member, and my second, Zakiya, to another place so I wouldn't become a burden to my friend. She only allowed us to stay for a month, so at the end of that month, me and my baby girl, Tatiana, spent the next week in 4 different places. It was very hard, and I cried a lot because I didn't know when it was all going to end. So finally, my friend allowed us to come back to our home, which I was very grateful because I had some type of stability. Finally, on October 11th, it was actually 3 months and 2 days later, I got the phone call that my room was available. I was very excited because me and my children were finally going to get the help that we needed. I arrived here a few hours later that same day with my younger 2, Zakiya and Tatiana, and I walked through the gates and I was sad because I realized that I was going to be living in a shelter with my kids. I didn't want to be here. But once my kids walked into our room, they saw the beds and they saw that they had their own bed, and they were excited. So then I was happy because my kids were happy. 2 days later, my oldest, Jemiah, joined us, and I explained to her that Metropolitan was going to help us, and we would have our own place, we had our own little space, and we were going to be here until we got on our own again. And she was excited, so I was happy again. I signed my kids up for the partnership school, my older 2, and they were excited because they like going to school, and the teachers love them. And Tatiana, she was only 2 when we moved in. She started school, and she got homework, and I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh, a 2-year-old with homework, but this is cool. I started to take my classes. I had parenting, relationship building, and financial classes. My favorite was parenting because I like to learn always, and thought it was cool to learn how to become better at my parenting. I then was able to sign up for school myself. I'm currently enrolled at Brewster for phlebotomy, and I'll be graduating on May 22nd. Thank you. After that, I'll be looking for a job. I'm looking to start work at Tampa General, so that's where I want to work. But I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thanks to everyone, all staff, volunteers, everyone who donators, everyone who has any part to do with Metropolitan Ministries. It's been a true blessing to be here and to have a stable place for me and my kids to live. Thank you.
Well, that's what it's all about. We're so proud of you, Chandra. So proud of you. Well, we're going to now have our great mayor come speak to us. I've heard Mayor Bob Buckhorn speak several times at Metropolitan Ministries events, and he's been so inspirational, so supportive. We can't get done what we need to get done in this city without the mayor's support, the staff, the housing staff, everyone that makes things happen here in this city, working together. Please welcome to the stage Mayor Bob Buckhorn.
Now, I didn't get to be mayor being silly, so I ought to just sit right down after following that. It doesn't get much better than that, and we are so proud of you, and this is exactly why all of us are here, is to see success stories like that, and to know that you are getting back on your feet and your children are in an environment that they are safe, that they are secure, and that what we are doing here today, all of us, is making a difference in the lives, not only of you, but in the tens of thousands of people that have passed through this. So thank you. Keep up the good work, Chandra. To all of you that are here today, I never go anywhere with seeing a former mayor in the audience and not thank them, because whatever success I have is because of the foundation that was given to me by previous mayors. Mayor Bill Poe, thank you for your service. Yep. Yeah. But more importantly to all of you and what you're doing here today and what you get up every day and do. There are so many of you who give so much, who ask so little in return, who don't expect to see their names in the papers, who don't want plaques, who don't want proclamations, but who get up every day because they understand that we have an obligation as parents, as leaders, as people who are successful, people whose lives have been blessed. We have obligations to give back and pull someone up along the way. Because ultimately, when it's all said and done, when we get to those pearly gates, or when we have to answer that question from our kids, Mom and Dad, what did you do? What did you do to make this a better place? I know you made a lot of money, Mom and Dad, and I know you won a few elections, and I know you were successful, but what did you really, really do to make a difference? Did you reach down and help somebody? Did you clothe the naked? Did you feed the hungry? Did you leave me a city that was in better shape than it was given to you? We're going to have to answer those questions someday, each and every one of us. And so what we are doing here today, and what Morris Hintzman has done his entire life, and those of you that have written the checks and put the arm on your friends, not because you want a plaque, not because you want to see your name in the paper, but because you get it. You really get it. You understand that the 500,000 people whose lives have been touched by this organization are better because of what you do. Those 500,000 people who at a time in their life when it was dark, when there was no hope, when there was no place to go, when there was no light at the end of the tunnel, this organization touched their life and got them back on their feet. This is just one example right here. Multiply this by the tens and thousands of young people, children, who have no voice, who have no vote, but whose lives have been made better because of what you do. We've got our work cut out for us. You know, there's a famous quote. It says the true test of a society is not in the bricks and mortar, but it's in how it treats those in the dawn of life, the children. How it treats those in the twilight of life, the elderly. And how it treats those in the shadow of life, the sick, the weak, the disadvantaged, and the poor. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be asked that question one day. What did we do? How are we going to answer that? This is not a beginning. This is a long journey. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for believing in the capacity of this city to be a great city. But thank you more importantly for understanding that we have that obligation. And we can't stop because the need is so great. And the families that we will house are just a tip of the iceberg. We can't stop giving. We can't stop believing. We can't stop inspiring people like this young lady right here to believe that her life will get better. Thank you for what you do. This is a great city, not because we're hosting the RNC, not because of the beautiful skyline. This is a great city because we are filled with people who care. Let's never quit. Thank you for what you do.
Great. That concludes our presentations. Now we're going to turn some sand here.
Mayor's going to call it. All right, Mayor's going to call it. When I say 3, take the shovel and throw it up there. Ready? Not the shovel. Ready? 1, 2, 3.